Good morning. It's Wednesday, 7/23/2025, and I had an amazing bike ride this morning. Burnt maybe 600 calories. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that was like the total with the walking I've already done, or if it's just the bicycling. But I have a Samsung watch that tracks my workouts and all kinds of good stuff. And when you're trying to improve anything, it's helpful to have some kind of measurements, and that way you can see what's working best for you. And it's also very motivating, I think. I've heard people say, like, oh, if you need motivation, then you're not good enough or something. But I think tracking thing. I think there's been studies about tracking your progress and how it helps you to keep improving and keep your consistency up, because improving anything, consistency is a key aspect of it for sure. I've been riding my bike really regular this summer, and it really increased the amount of calories I've been burning. I mean, what happened was, like, when it was cooler months, I was able to run some. I basically run uphill and walk downhill to save wear and tear on my knees and joints and stuff. And I don't know, I've heard people say that bicycling can be rough on your knees, but I haven't experienced that at all. And I've rode my bike a lot through the years. Um, but anyway, then once it got warm, it wasn't very comfortable to run anymore. For I would get out there and run on like 10-degree days, or like the really cold days, because the cold is a huge motivator to get you running, because you have to run just to stay warm. So yeah, motivation helps. Um, but yeah, consistency's important. Um, anyway, I went to Sunday school when I was a kid, and I've read the entire Bible pretty much. And I skipped some of that stuff about in the, I guess, the Old Testament, maybe, about all the names and stuff. I didn't get all into that. But anyway, I've been trying to make AI videos about inspiring Bible stories, and like putting God first in your life. But it has been difficult. The Bible, I mean, I know the religious people will be like, oh, it's the holy word of God sent from heaven. And I don't think that's entirely true. And I think a lot of the stories might be a case of the victor, the whoever was victorious in something writes like, we won and God was with us, or whatever. Something to that effect. Sometimes it's just the victor writes the history a little bit type thing. I don't really know. But I, I found other stories not in the Bible to be more inspiring. I remember one from when I was in Sunday school when I was a kid about, like, I'm probably not saying these names right, and they weren't their real names anyway. They were like the names that the king of Babylon gave them or something. It's like Meshach, Arak, and Abednego or something like that. I always liked that story. That story always stuck with me. But the other thing about trying to make AI videos is they're like, you're limited to like 8-second clips a lot of times. So you have to like if you were telling a knock knock joke, you would have to be like, knock knock is one segment, and then put that with another segment. Who's there? You know, I mean, it's not that bad. You could probably get a whole knock knock joke into one 8-second video if it's not too long. But yeah, it's challenging, and it's not as easy as like they make it seem. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it works great, and you can put some pieces together and make something pretty nice. But it's challenging. But yeah, after revisiting the Bible, it's kind of disappointing, a lot of it. But there's a lot there. You know, there are a lot of really good stories that are inspiring and give good examples to live by. But there's also a lot of, I would say, slave mentality, and there's a lot of bad stuff in there, really. I mean, you don't want to be a character from the Bible. They're not living some kind of perfect blessed life. Usually there's some kind of hardship that you don't want. And but like I wouldn't put up with a lot of the junk that the people in the Bible put up with. I would just be like, nah, you can have it. That's pretty much how I've been in life too. It's like I didn't want to I didn't want to be like everybody else, I guess. Um, One of my friends asked me, "Well, why didn't you marry her?" Or it's like, "Why didn't you marry her?" Or it's like, "Well, I didn't want to get divorced." You know, it was that simple. It's like, and growing up, what I've seen, relationships aren't that great. I mean, my parents are still married, and they had a good relationship. There was never any real fighting and stuff, but or anything like that. But I think that I think that the parents sometimes start putting the kids first, and I think that parents or anybody should put God first, and then themselves, and then each other, to be a good example to the kids, and then the kids after that. I think that's a pretty good plan. But I don't know. Anyway, I was watching some Dave Lee videos on YouTube. I don't know if you know who he is, but he was an early Tesla investor, that's for sure. I bet he's doing really well on all that. And he has some really great videos about being a parent and how to negotiate parenting. And wow, he's got some great ideas, in my opinion. I love what he's saying. If I ever get to be a parent, I would study his videos a lot closer and try to do that, a lot of those things. But But yeah, I could go on about the Bible, the Bible, but I don't want to. There's so many things I could say that would probably rub people the wrong way, but I'm not going to say all those things. I think what I've said is enough to rub people the wrong way if that's the way that they're going to take it or whatever. But I mean, maybe some of the Bible is straight from heaven and God or something, or inspired or something. But I don't think all of it is. Uh, well, I guess that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good day.